Hamlet, North Carolina, September 3rd, 1991. It was a Tuesday morning. Approximately 200 workers were on the production floor of the Imperial Food Products chicken processing plant in Hamlet, a city in Richmond County in the southern part of North Carolina. The facility processed chicken for fast food chains and had been operating for 11 years. At around 8:45 in the morning, a hydraulic line connected to a gas-fired fryer ruptured. The pressurized fluid sprayed onto the open flame. The fire moved fast. Workers ran for the exits. Some of them did not make it out. 25 people died. More than 50 were injured. Many of the victims were women who had worked in that plant for years, some of them for more than a decade. They knew where the exits were. They ran toward them. The doors were locked or blocked. What investigators found? Federal OSHA investigators moved through the plant after the fire was extinguished, and what they documented was not the story of an unavoidable industrial accident. It was the story of decisions made deliberately over the years that left workers with no way out when the fire started. Multiple fire exit doors had been padlocked from the outside or blocked with equipment. The stated reason was to prevent employee theft of chicken. The fire suppression system that had been partially installed was not functional. There were no posted evacuation routes, no fire drills in 11 years the facility had been running. And in those 11 years, the plant had never once been inspected by North Carolina State OSHA program. OSHA issued citations for 83 violations. Total fine, $800,000, which was the largest OSHA fine in North Carolina history at that time. Investigators described the company's approach to worker safety as one of utter disregard for the basic requirements that existed to protect people's lives. The owner of Imperial Food Products, Emmett Rowe, was charged for 25 counts of involuntary manslaughter. He pled guilty, was sentenced to 19 and a half years in prison, and served about 4 years before being released on parole. The workers' comp picture? Here is something that often gets lost in the broader account of what happened in Hamlet. The workers who were killed and injured at Imperial Food Products were covered by North Carolina workers' comp. Their families received death benefits. The injured workers received medical treatment and wage replacement under the North Carolina workers' comp system. That is how workers' comp is supposed to work. And in this case, it did. Workers' comp in North Carolina is a no-fault system. You don't have to prove that your employer was negligent to receive benefits. The fact of the workplace injury or death is enough. But workers' comp is also a limited system. The benefits available through workers' comp, death benefits, wage replacement, medical costs do not and cannot fully account for what an employer's deliberate negligence cost a family. Workers' comp was not designed to be a penalty. It was designed to be a baseline. For 25 families in Hamlet, North Carolina, the baseline is what they received. What North Carolina did after Hamlet? The political response in North Carolina was unusually fast. Within months of the fire, the state legislature passed 14 new worker safety laws. OSHA inspection requirements were significantly strengthened. Funding for safety inspectors was increased. Fire safety requirements for food processing facilities were tightened. Employer reporting obligations were expanded. The entire framework changed. Things are different today. That change happened because of Hamlet. Not because the law was weak in theory, because 25 workers died and the investigation proved the law had not been enforced over a decade in a facility where workers were employed full-time every day under conditions the employer knew were dangerous. I have been a workers' comp attorney in North Carolina for over 40 years, and one of the things that never stops being true is this. Most of the legal protections workers have today exist because workers before them were hurt or killed in situations that should have never been allowed to happen. Hamlet is one of the clearest examples of that truth in North Carolina's history. What the law says today, because of what happened then, the rights that North Carolina workers have in 2026 are directly shaped by what changed after the Hamlet fire. Let me be specific. North Carolina OSHA, operated through the North Carolina Department of Labor, now has the authority and mandate to inspect workplaces, investigate complaints, issue citations, and levy fines for violations. The maximum penalty for a willful OSHA violation in North Carolina today can exceed $150,000 per violation. Per violation, not per inspection. A company with 83 violations like Imperial Food Products would face a potential fine exposure many times larger today than the 800,000 total from 1991. You have the right to file a safety complaint with North Carolina OSHA and request that the complaint be kept confidential. Your employer cannot legally discipline or terminate you for reporting a safety violation to OSHA. Under North Carolina law, that retaliation is both illegal and independently actionable. You have the right to refuse work you reasonably believe poses an imminent danger to your safety in limited circumstances recognized by OSHA when the danger is immediate and documented. If you've been told that raising a safety concern is a problem, that you will be written up or disciplined for flagging a hazard that is a retaliatory threat, and it has a legal remedy available to you. If you've ever worked somewhere where safety violations were ignored, where your employer made clear the protection mattered more than the rules, I want to hear about it in the comments. You do not need to name the company, but the pattern that killed 25 people in Hamlet in 1991 did not disappear when those workers were buried. It is still showing up in workplaces across North Carolina today. Here's where I want to make this relevant to your specific situation, not just history. If you were hurt in a workplace accident in North Carolina today, your primary path to compensation runs through workers' comp. Workers' comp covers your medical treatment and a portion of your lost wages, regardless of whether your employer was at fault. You file your Form 18 with the North Carolina Industrial Commission, the insurance carrier accepts or denies the claim, and the system proceeds from there. But employer negligence in North Carolina workers' comp cases is not irrelevant to how your case unfolds. It is not irrelevant to the depth of coverage that you pursue. And it is not irrelevant to whether there are legal avenues beyond workers' comp that your situation may warrant. If a piece of equipment failed because maintenance was deferred and the employer knew it, if a work process was documented as unsafe and the employer continued it anyway, if your employer had prior OSHA citations for the same type of hazard that injured you, those facts matter. They matter to how aggressively your claim is defended by the insurance company. They matter to what a fair resolution of your case looks like. What happened in Hamlet was not a singular event in the sense that it ended the practices of employers cutting corners on safety to reduce operating costs. It was a singular event in the sense that it produced consequences severe enough to change state law. The daily reality for workers in North Carolina continues to include employers who make decisions that prioritize their bottom line over the safety of their workforce. What to do if you see the pattern? If you are working in a facility right now where exit doors are regularly blocked, or safety equipment is broken and not being repaired, where known hazards are being dismissed, where workers who raise concerns are disciplined or discouraged, here's what I want you to do. Document what you see. Write it down with dates. Take photographs if you can do so safely and within your workplace policy. Keep that documentation somewhere other than your work computer. Report the violation to North Carolina OSHA. You can do this at the North Carolina Department of Labor website or by phone. You can request that your complaint be kept confidential. Your employer cannot legally retaliate against you for filing. And if you were hurt in a workplace accident in North Carolina, do not assume the workers' comp system will handle itself. There's a video right here on this channel that walks you through the 5 things you need to do immediately after a workplace injury in North Carolina. Those steps protect your claim from the first day forward. I want you to watch it. Watch this next. If you were hurt in North Carolina, at work in North Carolina, I made a video on the 5 things you need to do immediately after a workplace injury. This is where this story connects to your life right now. King Law Firm is in the description if you need to talk. The consultation is free, and if you've been seeing safety violations ignored at your workplace, drop a comment. Those patterns are not ancient history.